I'm happy to be playing a marquee opener. It makes it a little bit different, obviously, because it's where I grew up, and my dad's got a statue outside the stadium that's a little bit different. But I love playing marquee openers where you jump right into it. And you look around college football week one, there's so many great matchups like that across the country. So I think it makes the summers for the players even more exciting, knowing what's coming, being able to go into Atlanta, play in the Falcon Stadium, and what'll be a great crowd. We're the only game on that afternoon. There's a lot of things that I'm excited about. Obviously, there's storylines, there's build up with it being game one. Honestly, I'll be glad when it's over because I'll be tired. I'll be ready to be done answering those questions.
Welcome onto the sideline, everybody. I am Matt Dowell alongside Jared Parker today, and this is a fun episode, Jared, because we are doing our podcast remotely or on site, whatever you want to call it. We're here at the Cobblestone Golf Park, the golf club here in Blythewood, where we had the annual Birdies with Beamer event. It's been a lot of fun. It is hot, though. We're doing this podcast outside, so Jared and I are trying not to sweat to death.
We're on the scene.
Yeah, we are really, truly on the scene, so it is really, really hot out here, but we're having a lot of fun. That's how dedicated we are to this podcast, but it's a beautiful day. I mean, this is a beautiful golf course. We had a lot of fun today. Before we get into all of the hottest topics, because we did talk to Shane Beamer, we talked to some of the assistant coaches, coordinators, and we'll talk about other things today, but just to give people an idea of like what this event is and how fun it is. Beamer does this every single year. We're rocking, we got some merch today. We're rocking the Birdies with Beamer hat. We got some cool bags and stuff. But basically, if you want to play golf, you can sign up to play golf alongside a lot of the Gamecock coaches, the Gamecock staff, and have a round of golf. It's a lot of fun. Jared and I are not two of those guys. No. We do not sign up for the golf.
Hard pass
because we are not good at golf and we don't want to embarrass ourselves. We're looking at the teams. It's, all these go like Sterling Sharp and Paul Maneri. And I'm like, I'm not trying to embarrass myself in front of all of these people, but a lot of fun. So anyway, those guys get to play golf all morning. It's a lot of fun. Everyone has a good time. Then we go inside, we eat some food, just kind of get to know each other better, get to talk to the coaches, hang out a little bit. Today it was chicken parm. We had lasagna. Yeah. We had some Caesar salad. And you know what? Cookies. So we had some good food here today, Jared. And I couldn't believe it because guess what I had for lunch yesterday with my family?
What do you have?
I had chicken parm
and
a Caesar salad.
Back.
So I've had 2 days straight of chicken parm and Caesar salad. So I am full. I'm ready for a banana, some fruit. So get that in my system. And then after we eat and everything, we have a formal press conference with Shane Beamer. That's a little more standard. And then after that, we get to talk to the coordinators, and we just basically it's pretty informal. We just go up to them, say, hey, can we ask you a couple questions? They're like, yeah, sure. And it's it's very casual. It's a very casual day at the golf course, which is a lot of fun. But let's get into what we learned today and some of our questions and answers that we got today, starting with Gamecock football, of course, because that's what we are here in Blythewood for. We got to talk to Shane Beamer, and just so people know too, we will have a local media day on Thursday with the entire Gamecock football team. So we'll get to ask them more questions in 3 days. So sometimes at this event, we save our questions for Thursday. So like for us, we did not ask any specific questions to Shane Beamer because we're going to get to talk to him much more up close and personal on Thursday. And we're saving our questions for that. But Jared, what stood out to you from today's press conference?
I know it's been something that's been a topic of discussion kind of all summer with Rasul Faison. Yeah. Just the fact that Shane Beamer said he would be at practice until he's told otherwise. Obviously, he's going through his troubles with the NCAA right now. Doesn't know if he's going to play or not going to play next year. But it looks like we know Beamer was standing behind him, but it's just we saw it on another level that, hey, he will be at practice until he's told otherwise.
Yeah, and he was saying, too, that the players are asking him the same question, like, what's going on? Like, well, everyone's kind of just waiting and seeing, but he'll be there on Friday if they don't hear otherwise. So that is a big development. There was a lot. I don't really know. That was probably the hardest question, like the most newsy question that was asked here today. I think everything else was pretty standard, asking about Atlanta, asking about the season opener, injury updates and all of that. But that was definitely the most like headline grabbing thing, I think, from today. And then, of course, they're talking about, opening the season in Atlanta against Virginia Tech, Shane Beamer's alma mater, which is always, which is going to be fun. And he was actually saying that his dad, someone, I guess in Virginia, asked him, hey, Frank, what are you looking forward to? Who are you rooting for in the season opener between South Carolina and Virginia Tech? And Frank was like, I just hope they both play well. And Shane today was like, no. You're rooting for us. You're sitting with the Gamecocks. So respect Virginia Tech. The Beamers are always going to love Virginia Tech.
Of course.
But, you got to root for South Carolina, Dad.
Family.
You got to go with family. So that was a fun joke from today. But not anything super newsworthy outside of that from today. But just let you guys hear from Shane Beamer really quickly about opening Atlanta, how excited he is to open on a Sunday afternoon at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. He had a message to the fans, and he also talked about what it's like for him to play his alma mater to open the season.
And I had a couple phone calls today with some of the people there that are putting on that game, and would encourage all of our fans to continue to gobble up. I shouldn't have said that, Virginia Tech. Continue to buy all the remaining tickets that we have for that game. I know they're going fast, but we need to make sure that it is nothing but garnet and black and Mercedes-Benz that day. Obviously, Labor Day weekend, a lot going on, but no better way to spend it than a Sunday afternoon in Atlanta, watching us take on a really good Virginia Tech team as well. So we'll need all the Gamecock fans in Atlanta that day and encourage people. I know a lot of people are already going that I've talked to, but really hope to see that place packed with garnet and black. I'm happy to be playing a marquee opener. It makes it a little bit different, obviously, because it's where I grew up, and my dad's got a statue outside the stadium that's a little bit different. But I love playing marquee openers where you jump right into it, and you look around college football week one. There's so many great matchups like that across the country. So I think it makes the summers for the players even more exciting, knowing what's coming, being able to go into Atlanta, play in the Falcon Stadium, and what'll be a great crowd. We're the only game on that afternoon. There's a lot of things that I'm excited about. Obviously, there's storylines. There's build-up with it being game one. Honestly, I'll be glad when it's over because I'll be tired. I'll be ready to be done answering those questions. But there's just the relationships. Obviously, my dad still lives in Blacksburg, and he sees those people all the time. We were up in Greenville this morning, and one of the Virginia Tech assistant coaches is Pearson Prelo, that's from South Carolina. That Pearson and I were freshmen together at Virginia Tech in 1995. So, Brent Pry, the head coach, when I was a freshman at Virginia Tech, he was the defensive graduate assistant. So, there's just a lot of ties and relationships. But at the end, it's a place that I've got, great memories of, a program and a team that I got a lot of respect for. It'll be a big challenge, certainly, and eager to compete. But, once we kick it off, it'll be about the guys on the field for sure. But, it was one of those that when I got hired, it was already on the schedule and seemed so far away. And now that it's here, it's pretty neat, but I'll be glad when it's over.
Shane Beamer was in a really good mood today. He also got a round of applause from everyone because, all the guests who were here and all the coaches, they got to sit and watch his press conference, and they all gave him a round of applause afterwards, and we all died laughing because he was like, man, you guys need to come to all my press conferences because I don't ever get a round of applause. So it was just, again, a really good mood for everyone today here at the golf course. Next up, though, after Shane Beamer was done, we got to talk to Mike Shula, the offensive coordinator here at South Carolina. Of course, his first season as the offensive coordinator. Of course, he was part of the Gamecocks last year. He knows Lenoris very well, but now it's really his offense. And, such an experienced guy, Jared, someone who has experience at the NFL level. And Lenoris is getting comparisons to Cam Newton because Mike Shula obviously was a huge part of Cam's career. And today, Mike was asked about comparisons between Lenoris and Cam, and he said that's kind of hard because Lenoris is so young, and Cam obviously, is at the end of his career. When he's had so much experience, he's had so much more playing time. Lenoris is only going into his sophomore season, so he thought it was kind of weird, unfair to kind of compare the two when Cam obviously has so much more experience than Lenoris. So he's kind of hesitant to answer that question about comparisons. I think because it's kind of unfair to Lenoris.
Yeah, and it's probably unfair to 99% of quarterbacks to be compared to Cam Newton to begin with. So I understand why he's so hesitant about not wanting to dive head first into those comparisons.
Yeah, and Shula, a really great guy, really open with us today, answering any questions, which is always appreciated. But, we got to talk to him for a little bit. What stood out to you before we get to hear from Mike Shula? What stood out to you from what he said to us?
Well, just how he was talking about Lenoris Sellers' development. I think obviously he was impressed probably before this offseason about Lenoris' physical ability, his skill set, the way he reads the game. But he mentioned his mental development, and that seemed like something that he was really satisfied with. And it's something we've been talking about all offseason, and something that's probably very necessary for Lenoris to develop with, because they have these high expectations. You have a lot more lights, cameras, all the questions, all the action on you. You're opening that Sunday against Virginia Tech, and you're going to have a lot of people watching, Heisman candidate possibly. So I think that hearing that he's developed mentally, that Shula is happy with that development, is something that's really timely, I think, for Lenoris. And I'm excited to see how it plays out through the course of the season.
Yeah, I think we all are. And today, of course, we got to talk to Mike Shula for a little bit. So here's what he had to say about Lenoris Sellers and coaching this Gamecock offense ahead of Friday's opening day of practice.
Just continues to need to understand how important it is to do the little things right, and I think he does understand that. It's just, I think he's going to get better with every snap, and he can't, you got to move on from last year and just learn how to continue. First of all, teams are going to play us a little bit differently, and he's got to understand that, the three things are, playing that position are throw it to the right guy, the same color jersey, get it there on time and accurately. If you can do that, then hopefully because of that, we'll have a lot of wins.
And then on the other side of the ball, you have, of course, the defense, which is the defensive coordinator Clayton White, who's been with South Carolina for a few seasons now. He had a career year last year with that Gamecock defense, who was so good, Jared. I mean, they were so good. And now the question is, what's next? They lost so many key players to the NFL. We've talked about it these past few weeks here on the podcast. But it's all about, everyone's asking about replaced. And it's funny because today he told us, he's like, they've been replaced. Like, we're not looking to replace them anymore. They have been replaced. Like, we're ready to go. And I thought that was a fun mindset, because for us, we're kind of starting the season and, looking at the questions. But for them, he said, like, we've been preparing for this for 2 seasons. We knew that last year's senior class was going to be so NFL heavy. It was going to be just so stacked with talent. They knew they had to have a plan for what happens when those guys leave. Mm-hmm. And he says they did have a plan, and they executed that plan. So he's excited for a lot of new players. But, of course, the big name, I guess the Lenoris Sellers of the defense is going to be Dylan Stewart, who had a monster freshman season. And now, Claire and I were talking about it last week. Now he's the guy. He last year was the freshman. He was the new face. He was kind of playing free because he had all these other guys. I mean, he's obviously amazing, but he had these other guys who were the faces of the defense, who could take all the questions, be the leaders, be the voice. They're all gone now, and now it's really Dylan Stewart's defense. And we'll hear from Clayton White here in just a second, but I really liked what he said to us about Dylan Stewart and what this defense is going to look like. I thought he was very honest and, gave refreshing answers.
Yeah, I think obviously, as most people who have watched the Gamecocks do, he feels very high about Stewart and his potential and what he expects from him this year. But I know he mentioned when we were talking about what he expects out of Stewart, and he said he wants him to play in his role or something along those lines, which again is another timely thing, because like you said, last season, you come in as a freshman, you might have expectations from the coaching staff, maybe your family, but the fans don't really know you as a college athlete, and people don't know him as a college athlete. Now, we've got a little taste of that. He did not look like a freshman at all last year. He was a game wrecker and playing on the other side of Kyle Kennard. Now he's the guy. He's that guy that Kennard's gone. He's that guy on the D-line that he's going to be the game wrecker. But I thought, Coach White, like you said, was very refreshing with setting his expectations, not saying he expects him to, be some type of unicorn, but also acknowledging that he does have those unicorn-like traits.
Yeah, it was so great to talk to Clayton White. So here is what Clayton White had to say about, replacing the defense, what he expects from Dylan Stewart, and Jared asked him a great question of one word to describe Dylan Stewart, what would it be? So here's defensive coordinator Clayton White.
They've been replaced. People keep saying we have a lot of players to replace. They've been replaced. We have guys in the building that we're excited about, just the new faces, just to get back out there and coach them again. And they've done a great job of just bonding and coming together this off season starting in January. But they're ready to play. We're all eager to watch them go out there. The main reason why I would say he's like he's an animal to me, meaning that pretty much he can run and jump and do most of the things that most animals can do. But I think that he's and some animals are nice, some animals are quiet, some animals hide in the back, some animals jump out front. But he's always going to be the same Dylan Stewart, the animal that he always is. Hope that answers your question, man. That's a tough one. Yeah.
So it's been a really fun day here at Birdies with Beamer. We got to talk to a lot of guys today, a lot of coaches, got to learn some things. And again, our week is continuing with Gamecock football this week. We have our local media day on Thursday afternoon where, again, we'll get to talk to Shane Beamer. Every single player is going to be available on the team. Every single coach will be available. So that's a huge day for us. So we'll have a lot of content from them on Thursday afternoon. And then Friday morning is day one of fall camp. It is here, y'all. We are very, very excited. We're going to take a timeout here on South Carolina sideline, but when we come back, we're actually going to talk women's basketball. We don't talk about it a lot in July, but Jared, a bomb was dropped, and we have to discuss Ashlyn Watkins. We'll talk about her big announcement when South Carolina sideline returns. So it's the end of July. We're not used to talking women's basketball all the time this time of year, especially the college version. We talk a lot of the WNBA here on our podcast in the summer, and we have said before that women's basketball in Columbia is a year-round news cycle, and that continued, Jared, because on Friday, we're at work. We're just hanging out. Fridays are usually chill. We're having a good time. And then a bomb drops. And we're not used to a Friday, news dump. That's not really, usually Fridays are not the day where you get big announcements. That was not the case this past Friday because South Carolina star Ashlyn Watkins making a major announcement that she is not going to play for South Carolina next season. She's going to take a year off from basketball, get her mind, get her body right, and then she's hoping to return for the 2026-2027 season. Jared, before we get into it, our reaction to this news, let's just read you guys what Ashlyn's statement said, because she posted this on Instagram and on her socials on Friday. She said, in a statement, as most of you know, this past year has been a roller coaster for me. I usually like to keep my personal life private, but every time I step out into the community, I realize I'm not alone in this journey. So many of you have shown me love and encouragement, and because of that, I feel like I owe you a little insight into what's been going on. I also want the younger ones who look up to me to know that tough times don't define you, they make you stronger. With everything that's happened this year, I'm going to take some time off to focus on myself, my community, my faith, and my family so that I can grow as an individual and attempt to master this journey of life. I'm so grateful for my coaches, the USC medical team, my teammates, and everyone who's supported me along the way. For now, I'll be cheering on my team and working hard to come back even stronger in the 2026-27 season. And then she signs it, Ashlyn Watkins. So let's just kind of break this down because I know there's a lot of questions, from a lot of people of what does this mean? What is the reason for all of this, etc. First, we'll give our reactions. I have to admit, I was surprised by this. I didn't see it coming. Of course, Ashlyn tore her ACL in early January against Mississippi State in a road game. It took her out for the rest of the season, and there were certain games where you could feel that loss. You could feel her absence, especially in the national championship against UConn. You really felt that was a game where they needed Ashlyn. She had all summer, I think we saw some pictures of her back in training. We thought, okay, she's getting back on track. I think most of us thought realistically she wouldn't really be back until January anyway. So I don't know. What do you take from this, Jared? Because I was surprised at the announcement just because I wasn't expecting it. But I think from what I know, from what I've heard, it has nothing to do with the legal situation, first of all, from last year. I think that's well in the past. That is, that's done. So from what I know, it has nothing to do with that. It's all about the knee. It's all about the ACL. It's all just about, it's maybe the recovery's not going quite the way they thought it would. And then, mentally as well, it's been hard on her, and I think it's just time to just take a break. So I think it just has all to do with the knee. So I just kind of want to clarify that as well. But what's your reaction to this? Because I was surprised.
Yeah, and I will say the first thing on that I did notice, it was a shared post with South Carolina women's basketball. So that instantly made me know that, okay, this is not a surprise. This is something that they've probably been talking about for them to have a planned post together like that. But as far as, my initial reaction, it was a shocker. I mean, I didn't expect her to be ready to go night one, roaring as far as the non-conference schedule. But it is shocking because I thought, she'd come back, be a part of a team that looks like they're hungry to get back to the national championship and win this time. Obviously, losing in the national championship is never a good feeling, and they lost in that game you mentioned. I think Sarah Strong, who was a beast for UConn, if you look at South Carolina's roster, if you look at really any roster in the nation and think about who would match up best on defense against Sarah Strong, I find it hard to find a better player than Ashlyn Watkins defensively that has her size, her speed, her active hands, her blocking ability. So it's going to be a big loss. I think, depth is the name of the game with the Gamecocks, and that's obviously a big hit to them. But I don't think it's the end of the world. I think they're a talented team. They made the national championship, in spite of her being on the bench last year. I think they can do it again. And when she's ready to go, I know she still has a spot to go there and star and show what she can do once again.
Yeah, I know. And I actually think they have more pieces this coming season to where I don't think you're going to feel the loss as much. I think because, when you think of last year, Chloe and Joyce were really playing the 5, and they're really not true 5s. Now they have a 6'6" center in Medina Okot who's going to take so much pressure off of everyone in the post. So where Chloe, Joyce can play the 4, they can play the 3 probably sometimes and be true forwards. They're not trying to have to be pseudo centers or whatever you want to call it. So I do think they are more ready, just personnel-wise, for Ashlyn to not be there next season. And I know there's other questions too about, is she going to transfer? What does this mean? She's not going to transfer. She loves the Gamecocks. The statement from Dawn Staley that, she gave to us said, we love our players. We support Ashlyn in this whole journey. And also her dad is pretty active on social media. And he said, they're just trying to get the knee right. And she loves South Carolina. She fully plans to come back to the team in 2026, 2027, which, like you said, that was a shared post with the team. This was all kind of coordinated. They've all been on this journey together, and I think that was pretty clear. But I know the fans are going to miss Ashlyn Watkins. She's a Columbia kid. Yeah. We've all, watched her rise since her days at Cardinal Newman, and I don't think anyone really saw her career going this way, missing so many games. And I know she hates it. She's the athlete. She's the one that has to deal with all.
It had to be a tough decision, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
But especially in college basketball, college athletics in general, you only have so much time. I understand it. Don't try and get right too early. Like, take that year off. You're going to miss it when it's gone. So, you know what? Take as much time as you need so that you can be ready when you're back.
Yeah, and the ACL, you can't play with that. You can't play with that injury. It just takes time, and it takes time to go perfectly, the recovery. So, sometimes things happen, and the recovery doesn't go the way that you want it to. But we're wishing Ashlyn the best. We know that she's obviously going to be there supporting the Gamecocks next season, and we really, really hope that she's ready to go for 2026, 2027, because I think everyone – all Gamecock fans want to see her out on the court. They want to see her win. They want to see her rebound, all those things that she does so well. So, and I think the reaction from fans has been great. And it's what you would expect from Gamecock fans. It's been all wishing her well, all hoping that she gets healthy. And, again, this team is stacked. So I think they'll be okay. And I think Ashlyn's health is most important in this situation. Yes. Anything else you want to say about this Ashlyn Watkins? Because I know that was the big news going into the weekend, and I think everyone's just trying to, digest it because we're football, and then it was, a big basketball, bombshell. So
yeah, well, I am interested because they're 11 deep now with Ashlyn taking the year off. We know Joyce and Chloe, how they operate, and we know about Medina Okot. I want to see kind of, all right, who's that next big to step up? We got to see some of Miriam Dowda last year in the postseason. She had some flashes of, greatness, kind of, especially in that Oklahoma game. I want to see, is it her that steps up? Is it Adele Tack? Who's going to step up and be that big off the bench to really contribute some valuable minutes?
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because we didn't even talk about Miriam and Adele, two people who I think are going to be key pieces going into next season. And so I talked about, Medina Oka, but don't forget about Adele Tack.
Yeah.
I mean, she's going to be good. I really, really, really believe she's going to be good. And it's just, again, she's got to get healthy because she's
another case.
She's had major knee issues and major knee injuries coming into college. So it's just all about getting healthy. Health is number one. But anyway, anything else you want to add before we wrap up today, Jared?
That's it today.
That's it today too. I know we are sweating. We're trying our best to be like cool, calm, and collected. We are sweating. It is so hot here in Columbia today. But we had a lot of fun here at Birdies with Beamer today. It's always a fun event. We got some cloud cover now, which is nice. We needed it.
Once it came in, I was like, yes.
Right as our podcast ends, the clouds come in. But we thank you guys for watching as always. We thank you guys for listening as always. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow, comment, all of that good stuff because busy season's here. We have done our podcast this summer and we've made it work, but now we got some things to talk about, Jared, and we're very, very excited about it. And we hope you guys are enjoying our show. And again, new episodes every Tuesday and Thursday. He's Jared Parker. I'm Matt Dowell. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to South Carolina Sideline. We'll see you next time.